family has been in this area since a long time. I mean, halfway through the 1700s to be exact. So farmers for generations. That's quite a lot of generations. This is, but always was, my refuge. This is home base. It meant work. I mean, I started working when I was 9 years old out here, but it's because I wanted to. I wasn't made to necessarily. So, but yeah, I mean, it's as home gets. This is what I think of and always have whenever I even hear the word.
Where is the little baby video? Oh, there it is. Hey, little baby. Oh. Good morning, kitty. Good morning, kitty. In her little bed. This is where she sleeps. This is her house. Oh, you're not gonna cooperate, are you? You're gonna be a little turd. Oh well. Next time, get some food. Back of the office. It's kind of like a, what do you call the room where a sorcerer makes up his potions? That's what my dad does here. And me too, when necessary.
Got to get behind you, yeah. In the morning and cloud. Got to get behind you. In the morning and cloud. You got to get behind you.
Yeah, you know how much a paper cut hurts? Now imagine if that was your paper cut. There's a lot of sharp edges on the flats and cups and things like that, and let alone the abrasiveness of soil and the fact that we do a lot of cleaning and preening on all the plants. Kind of wear your fingers out after a while. And doing that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of hands, a lot of time. You know, our MO is year-round showtime and giving people an opportunity to express themselves through this beauty that we can provide them. But it adds value to wherever they go, and people recognize that, and they really come to expect it. They enjoy it. Our customers know that they can trust us, they can trust our product. We'll take an interest in their goals and then advise them to the best of our knowledge and expertise. Everything that we send out has our name on it. People will come to know you by the quality of your work. What keeps us going is seeing people's appreciation for that. People get really excited about seeing a level of quality of flowers that they've never seen before. You know, people get their flowers from us and then they go and beautify their grounds or their gardens or containers and such. We tell our landscaper customers when they inevitably come back and thank us for our product and our service and willingness to help any way we can. We tell them that, hey, you know, we're not here to take credit. It's actually our job to make you look good. You know, back in 2007, we had a really bad drought in this area. Of course, plant sales were pretty low during that time. We managed to make it through that. Right after that, though, is unfortunately 2008. The economy and the whole housing crisis, I mean, everything really took a dive and was tough on everybody. A lot of nurseries went out of business. They had to close their doors. We were small enough and specialized enough to where it was really tough and it was really lean times, but we were able to push through and stay open. Right about the time that we were slowly creeping back out of that economic hole, my dad had to have a procedure done, basically a stent put in his abdominal aorta. Of course, he couldn't do any kind of strenuous activity at all. And so we knew it was going to be tough, but we figured, okay, for one season, you know, we'll be able to hang on. We can probably make it. It won't be easy, but we can do it. About the time that he was starting to heal up and be mobile and be able to, you know, function a little better, he started getting very sick. A lot of pain, a lot of fevers, a lot of just something really wasn't right. had lost upwards of close to 70 pounds, was very, very weak, had terrible fevers and pain for that whole time. At that point, they decided that have a very invasive procedure, a 9-hour procedure, and go in there to remove that foreign body, the stent, that turned out was contaminating him, was poisoning him. They really only gave him about a 15% chance of surviving that procedure. Now, the good news is he did survive the procedure. Now, during that time that he was out of the picture, we were fortunate enough to have two really, really good friends and good workers. I had two guys, my one right-hand man at the market and my one right-hand man here at the nursery. Now, I'm very thankful for having both of them, because that's the only way that we were able to make it through that tough time. I'll be eternally grateful. About the time that my dad had healed, my right-hand man and friend of 20 years, right-hand man at the market, he had been a veteran and had been battling his own demons for a while, and unfortunately lost his last battle. And so he's no longer with us at all. That was in January, and we managed to make it through. Unfortunately, it meant that we were spread even thinner. In May of that very year, I get a phone call telling me that my right-hand man at the nursery was no longer with us either. Weekend of Mother's Day. And so we lost a lot that day as well. Ever since then, we've been fortunate enough to have friends and even a couple of customers that, care about what we do and are willing to come and help too. That was really the only way we could have made it through after sustaining those losses that we did. And of course, losing some experience like that, if you lose quality labor, we had to make do with increasing the quantity of labor that we had. It does bring efficiency and productivity down. Being efficient is the only way that we can continue, and finding ways to save time while not sacrificing quality. That's one of the main reasons that we haven't introduced any kind of automation or anything like that, because anytime you do, then quality will suffer. Now, there's one exception to that, and this is a technology that we have wanted for a long time. That technology is ebb and flow tables, a way to water your plants from underneath. Upwards of half of every day is spent just watering, and ebb and flow tables would basically turn thousands and thousands of man hours into literally minutes, while not sacrificing quality, in fact improving it. And so that's why that is the one and only technology that would like to introduce here. When every minute counts, then anything you can do to save a minute is crucial. Prepping the coffee machine the night before, sleeping in my contact lenses so that saves a few minutes the next morning. Falling asleep in my recliner with my shoes on. So when I wake up in the morning, lean forward and hit the lever, and it assists me into a standing position. So it seems like I have only paused myself the night before and then pushed play the next morning, and I'm back already in mid-stride. At the beginning of our season, we have to procure everything that we need, so that's a large expense, that kind of thing. And it's a few months before we have a sellable product, and only then do we have an opportunity to recoup any of those costs. And all the while, we've had all the input costs, including plants and materials and fertilizers and especially labor. If you can't recoup all of those costs, then they'll carry over to the next season. For years, our suppliers knew how we operated, they knew how this industry was, and knew that that was a fact of the industry, and always had allowed us to carry a bit of a balance over whenever we needed to. Our suppliers got bought out by a larger conglomerate. They no longer allowed us to carry any kind of a balance over. We would not have been allowed to stay in business unless we could settle up our entire balance with them. So in order to satisfy that and comply with their new rules, we had to pull money from anywhere that we could. All of mine, all of my dad's, any family member that could help, even so far as selling land, and that at least allowed us to satisfy their new rule and stay in business at least for the next season. At that point, we had drifted backwards where we were no longer in the smooth stuff, trying to do everything you can to keep from being pulled over the waterfall. You start jettisoning weight, all those other things that make up life, hobbies, relationships. Is it too much to say that I haven't even been on a date in 5 years? All those things have been sacrificed for sure. Despite all the weight you can throw out of the boat, when you're that close to the waterfall, the tide's too much. It would mean that this is no longer home, and it would mean that I've failed in my goal of, perpetuating this place, this homestead, and this business, and this family. Which is not a thought that I like, thinking about. To get back upstream, wow, it would mean all kinds of good things. From a family business standpoint, we could take some necessary steps, not be so risk averse. We could invest in certain improvements to streamline what we do, and that's what we had in our sight. Be so huge in terms of saving so much time. The best way I can describe it is, imagine having about 2 to 3 days of each week back, that amount of time back. The reason I say that is, when our greenhouses are full and we're trying to keep everything looking tip-top and cared for to the best of our ability, everything we do is by hand. It's a set of eyeballs on every plant in this place every day. I've had customers describe what we do as a craft, and I agree. It is a craft. I absolutely have faith that we can get back to that point. And the reason I have so much faith that we can get there again is that our reputation is stellar. The carrot at the end of the stick is huge. I have utmost faith in our potential. We can just be not so weighted down by that big boat anchor that we accumulated over those 2 very unfortunate years. We need help getting away from the waterfall.
Things you had.